So this is day 8. What I've been working on here is raising the bum here. This was actually down there before, and this one was right down there. So we've had quite a lot of raising up of this area here, which has made the legs really nice and long and shapely. I was aware that that needed to be done. I just wasn't quite sure how to do it and what needed to be done. We actually had Cat down as well to stand next to it, and that helped a lot to work out that area. And also the shoulder area is another one where at the moment the shoulders are quite broad, and that gives it a sort of manly effect. It's actually harder to carve a woman than a man, I find, because everything's much more subtle. With a man you can sort of see the muscles and the bones, and if you get it wrong it still looks chunky and masculine. It's much easier to make a woman look like a man than a woman look like a woman. So this getting the definition of the female shape is a beautiful thing when you get it right, because you have subtle curves that just look really nice. So you've got this subtle curve here coming, but you've also got here, there's where the pelvis is. There are a few places where the underlying structure comes close to the surface. So it's good to have it not just that everything's smooth and subtle and it just becomes melted almost, but you have some things like this nice line in the backbone where the back muscles go. That's a nice defining shape. And the way, you've got here a sort of quite a distinct line where the buttock goes down to there. If that could just sort of melted into it, it wouldn't look as good. So it's a question of working with certain things do have a definition and they have a sharp edge.
I guess carving things like bears and even men is a lot easier, is it?
Yeah, to carve a bear, nobody really knows what a bear's bum looks like or cares. And so, you can't do it wrong really. Whereas with a woman, it's the sort of thing that is if you get it right, it's just a very pleasurable, beautiful thing. And say if you get it wrong, if it's too muscular and it looks more like a man's bum, it's just not quite so right.
That must be particularly important in the face.
Yes, yeah. Again, with the male face, you tend to have bigger cheeks, bigger nose, and more defined chin, and it's quite easy to make a woman's face look like a man's. But you still have to have definition. You still have to have, the eyes have to be defined, the cheekbones have to be defined. It's just knowing how much to do that and knowing when to stop, because you can make it look too childish, and if you end up with looking like a child's face, that's not right either.
Fascinating.
So there's still a lot of work to do, but with as you can see, we're really getting down. We've taken an awful lot off, but especially around this area. This muscle here was much bigger, and I'd say the buttock was much bigger. The ankle's starting to get thin. There's another issue with this here, because the whole weight of this is actually onto this tiny area here. Because we're working with oak, we're fairly we've got a lot of strength in the wood. Going back to that original idea that this is 3 forces here. There's me as the artist, there's the model, and there's the tree. We're really relying on the tree's qualities here to hold the whole thing up.
Is there an issue with the actual strength of the sculpture then?
I think because it's oak and because I'm working with the grain is actually straight there. To break a piece of oak that thick would take an awful lot, and also because wood has the flexibility, so we've actually got a bit of movement here.
Oh wow!
That is actually coming. That's actually the whole sculpture moving from the base.
I can actually see that on the camera.
Yeah.
Do that again.
Okay.
Crikey.
You can see there's quite a lot of movement, and that's just the power of the thin piece of oak in the ankles flexing. There's no risk of it snapping, because wood has this amazing quality in the length of it, because it's fibres that are long, for the fibres to actually move with each other. That's how trees survive in storms. You see them blowing around, the branches blowing around. And
so in terms of that wobble, I guess this massive piece of weight on the top
This is an issue that I'm trying not to worry about too much because I'm working on other parts of the body, but it's there taking a lot of mental energy working out what am I going to do with this big lump here. Shall I just be really definite and say it actually doesn't need to be there, because what we've got here is
you're just going to cut it off
and actually cut it off here, and
oh
then
my god,
that's but that does take quite a lot. That's a big decision, because as it is there, it could potentially be a really interesting feature that spirals out to the sky, a bit like the tree would be growing to the sunlight, and so it might be really nice. And we've also got here the grain, because there was a side branch coming out, so that's really good. It means that even if it's very thin at the end there, it'll be strong, and then it comes into the main tree and the grain is going that way, so we've got a really interesting grain change happening there. So that's definitely a possibility that this stays and becomes either some wild headscarf, or even hair flying up, or even maybe a symbolic representation of a thought coming out from the head. Not actually a light bulb moment, but that idea of possibly that there's something coming from the thoughts of this wonderful human head that's here.
At some stage, I guess you've got to make that decision then.
Yeah.
But not now.
No. It's important to know when to, just have a thought, because you need to be thinking about the stage ahead, because you don't want to do something that then stops you, the option, cuts out the options, literally cuts the options off. So you've got to make sure that you are thinking a stage ahead, but you're focusing on where you actually are.
So that could be day 10 that you make that decision?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm still working on the hands here. I'm starting to get the definition of the thumb. So here in the hand, we've got two things that we need to take into account. We've got the grain of the wood, which is going this way, and we've got here points of weak wood, which we need to make sure that the fingers aren't here, that they're here and here, and that'll give us a really nice fine hand, which is strong. And these fingers, this is a really nice hard piece of oak here, so the fingers can be stretched out like that, which is going to look really good. I think that you've got a width, but you've also got lots of gaps, which will give you a nice feeling of sort of openness, really. That's one of the key themes on this, is the idea that one hand is held and the other hand is releasing, and
okay.
that's energy of holding and releasing is
so the theme is actually developing as we're going along.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll give us an idea of what the headpiece is going to be doing.
That's right. Yeah. When I can stand back on it and I can look at that, and also then there'll be the issue of where the head is looking. So I think that will be the next stage, will be where the head is looking and where this massive bit of wood is going.
It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, well, it's been a so far it's been quite a full-on, exhausting project, but it's definitely been worth persevering. We're not there yet, but we're definitely getting to a point of well over the middle, where we've actually got the main shape really nicely defined. So we're definitely well on the journey to this amazing sculpture that'll be there at the end.
Excellent.